Hey, it's Trey J, and today I want to talk about DLC and how it can make or break a game. So, first off, this gameplay here is going to be Call of Duty Ghosts. It's from 2013, and this is on the PlayStation 4. And this is obviously not my main Ghost account, but anyway, the player base on this, this was taken a few years after the heyday, and the player base isn't near as good as the one on Xbox, but anyway, this is the first example of how DLC actually made this game. So it actually saved this entire game from the pit of despair. Basically, in 2013, this game launched, and a lot of the maps were large, and a lot of them were poorly designed. And in fact, this match here is Prison Break, and that's actually one of the launch maps of Call of Duty Ghosts. But yeah, this game basically launched with some less than ideal maps, and a lot of the player base was like, "Oh, we're not playing this. We're just going to play Battlefield 4, or we're going to go, play something else." So, or back to Black Ops 2 rather. And then I actually had traded in my Xbox at this point, my Xbox 360, and just had the Xbox One. So this is the only game I had to play. So I actually had basically no choice to play this game, but to play this game if I want to play Call of Duty. So I actually ended up playing it a lot, and it wasn't very fun at first, but then the DLC dropped, and it made this game way more fun. They added, 4 map packs and, a couple of DLC weapons, and, they added quite a bit of new content to this game, and it made it, leagues better than it already was. So I remember the first DLC pack had I think a DLC weapon that could be, it was like the Maverick. It was like half assault rifle and then half could be converted to a sniper rifle. And also remember there was a Scrapyard remake on there, and this map called Fog. I think it's called Fog, and you could actually turn into Michael Myers if you got a field order or whatever and did that. And then the second DLC had a map similar to that, but it was like set in like the some kind of ancient ruins in the jungle, and you could actually turn into a Predator in that one if you could complete the field orders there. And there was a couple more map packs, including like a remake of the Shipment map. And so overall, they had like a Dia de los Muertos map, and they had like a pirate ship map, all sorts of crazy, colorful maps. And it really helped this game, become a lot better aesthetically and gameplay-wise. And that's just an example of DLC saving this game. Then 4 years later, we had Call of Duty World War II, which dropped in 2017, and that game had just 9 maps at launch. A lot of them were large, and some of them were fully designed, but aesthetically it was less than ideal. A lot of the player base dropped off, and in fact Fortnite came out that year, so they ended up going to Fortnite. But in the middle of the life cycle, Activision made or Sledgehammer Games, whatever, someone made the decision to revamp the actual core multiplayer experience of World War II and actually made it into a much better game. And then they added a lot of the DLC maps, and that, made the map count go up drastically. And, that was a lot of fun. Maps like Egypt and other things, that really, diversified the map locations and everything. It made it a whole lot better. They added a lot of DLC, and, they added a lot of new weapons and all sorts of things. And, it made the game much more fun. And you wanted to actually grind, and you can be able to unlock things, new things that you didn't have before. And also, they added other fun maps like Shipment, but this time it was on the beach of like Normandy, and that was fun. That was a very good experience there. And they also added like a little map where you got to basically turn into like tiny army men, and you got to fight in like a big sandbox kind of setting. That was a very unique and interesting map right there. So that is another example of how DLC actually saved that game, and it really did a 180 just like Ghost, and it became one of the best CODs in the recent the modern era. So now we're going to get into the section where DLC actually hurts some Call of Duty games. So the first one that comes to mind here is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I'm talking about the one that released in 2023, not the old one, not the original one. And basically what happened in that was it launched with, just the original Modern Warfare 2 maps from 2009. It launched with just those maps. And me and my friends went on there and we played all the new map, or all the old maps, and you know, we played it for like a whole month. It was like that, and it was so much fun, lots of nostalgia. And then, you know, after that, they started having seasonal updates and everything, and they added, you know, new maps and more content to the game, and, you know, more the start of some pretty questionable operator skins. Here I got the Juggernaut, and but yeah, so that kind of, it made us not want to play the game because it just wasn't Modern Warfare 2 maps anymore. It was a lot of other maps added, and it didn't have the same feeling that you would get from, you know, playing a Modern Warfare 2 game, you know, or remaster or whatever, remake. So we actually, you know, stopped playing that quite a bit, went on to other stuff. I know they had some cool skins though, like especially the Art the Clown skin from the Terrifier series, and that was an excellent addition to the game. And then the next game that I can remember that came out was that had DLC and everything that really made an impact was Black Ops 6. Now Black Ops 6 launched with, you know, more maps than, I think maybe 14 maps or whatever, and they were pretty decent. And it was a decent, you know, it was a good multiplayer experience. It was fun for the first, you know, couple months. Me and my friends were racing to Prestige and everything. And, you know, then they started adding some more crazy operator skins. There was girls in pajamas, and, you know, there was, like, just ridiculous, like, unicorn skins and dinosaurs and all sorts of crazy stuff that would never be in a military game. It was abysmally bad, and people running around with cartoon character skins like Beavis and Butthead and American Dad, and then Seth Rogen and the Ninja Turtles. They added some great maps, and then they added a couple of some real bad maps to the rotation, but nevertheless, they added quite a bit of map variety. But it's just the skins that just ruined the experience. Not to mention, they added a lot of very small maps, so, you know, appealing to the dopamine slaves and everything that just want instant gratification. So that's what they did with that game, and it actually broke the game, in my opinion. A lot of the player base just left, and this same player base is now going to Battlefield 6. And Battlefield 6 will succeed where Call of Duty failed. So we've seen how Modern Warfare 3, you know, the DLC kind of broke the game, but Black Ops 6 is when it really just absolutely ruined it. And, you know, the player base has rebelled. Call of Duty pre-order numbers are at an all-time low. Battlefield 6 is poised to actually beat Call of Duty this year, probably for the first time in history. And that's quite the telling tale. Activision, they shot themselves in the foot. But anyway, that's the gameplay here, 44 and 5, and appreciate you watching. We'll talk again soon.